So we've completed the methods with lists. I want to talk about the operators now, specifically the addition and multiplication operators. So let's say we have three lists over here, lists 1, 2, and 3. They each have three values in them. So you can concatenate lists together like this, list 1 plus list 2. You just use a plus sign. This is the addition operator. It's not really any different than saying, 10 plus 20, except we have list 1 plus list 2. And this will just return a new list with all those values together in a single list. We can add as many lists as we want together over here. So now we have 1 through 9 like that. So that's pretty cool. You can use the plus operator to concatenate multiple lists together. Now notice that the original lists are unchanged. Okay, so we just use them in the operation. We actually did not assign any this to any value. So if you wanted to keep this or save this result for later, you'd have to assign it to some other value. Let's just say a to keep it simple. So now if we can use the variable a to reference the result of that operation. It's the same thing if we added three numbers together. We would have to assign it to a variable in order to use it later on in our program somewhere. So yeah, the original lists are not mutated. And as you can see here, I checked all three. Now, you can also add lists together without first assigning them to a variable. So let's say we have, let's just use different numbers for fun, 100, 110, 100, and 1,000. And maybe 220, 200, and 2,000. So here I've created a list just in the line. I didn't assign this to any variable. There's no assignment statement. So I'm adding this list to this list, and that's perfectly valid. You don't have to create a new variable first. And you're going to do any number of lists together. Let me just keep adding here. You can have lists with strings in it. So Ted, Dean, Steph, Penelope. Okay, so I have a list of strings over here. You can have numbers in here, it doesn't really matter. And we can add them all together into one giant list like this. So it doesn't matter how many lists you're adding together or what the types are in each list. The addition operator will just concatenate them all together. All right, so last thing is you can use, that's the addition operator. Let's go ahead and look at the multiplication operator. So this works similarly with strings. So let's look at list 1 here. So you can multiply any list by an integer. So let's go ahead and multiply this by 5. So what this will do is it will just concatenate itself 5 times, or however many times we did. So it just does 1, 2, 3, 5 times in a row. This isn't any different than what we saw with strings. So ABC times 5 will just concatenate ABC to itself 5 times. So that's how the multiplication operator works. If you want to just repeat something in your list, you use that. It has to be multiplied by an integer for it to work. All right, so that's how the addition and multiplication operators work with lists.